Hello there, and welcome to the weekly Outside Views report on German politics. According to a report, the federal government has again approved several large arms exports abroad, including to countries that belong neither to NATO nor to the EU. The weapons are to go to the African Sahel state of Niger and to India, as the magazine Spiegel reported on Tuesday, citing a decision by the secret Federal Security Council. The federal government informed selected members of the German Bundestag about the export permits on Monday. The Republic of Niger is to receive two King Air 360ER propeller planes that have been converted for border surveillance. According to the Spiegel, the armament package also includes radio and video surveillance technology, such as marine surveillance radars and thermal imaging cameras. Niger is currently Germany's closest partner in the politically unstable Sahel region. Bundeswehr soldiers are stationed in the country. Their number should continue to rise when the Bundeswehr mission in neighboring Mali then ends. The Federal Security Council also approved a comprehensive arms package for India. This includes technical equipment such as gears used in the Leopard 2 battle tanks and other combat vehicles. In addition, 4 gears for developing a prototype for a weapon carriage, 6 high-tech binoculars, pumps, pipes, and production documents for the manufacture of components such as those used in the Boxer armored personnel carrier were among them. According to the report, the federal government states a cost volume of around 2.2 million euros for the approved arms exports to India. No information was given on the value of the planned exports to Niger. In addition, the federal government wants to deliver 12 combat helicopters of the type H145M to its EU partner Cyprus, which the Bundeswehr also uses for the elite association Kommando Spezialkräfte or KSK. The cost of selling the armed helicopters is not mentioned in the letter from the business department either. The decision to export armaments is made by the Federal Security Council. The committee meets in secret under the chairmanship of the Federal Chancellor. The permanent members of the Federal Security Council include the Defense Minister, the Foreign Minister, the Interior Minister, the heads of Finance, Economics and Justice, as well as the Development Minister and the head of the Federal Chancellery. Because of the secrecy, the federal government is not allowed to comment publicly on questions about the Federal Security Council, as it says on its website. The successor to former BSI President Arne Schönbohm has now been found. The ECB employee Claudia Plattner takes over his position. So the tax expert Claudia Plattner will be the new president of the Federal Office for Information Security, the BSI. The German press agency learned this from government circles, and the German magazine Spiegel had previously reported on the personnel. The mathematician has been Director General for Information Systems at the European Central Bank, the ECB, since summer 2021. The long-standing BSI President Arne Schönbohm was fired by Federal Interior Minister Nancy Faeser from the Social Democrats last October. Jan Böhmermann is a German satire comedian that previously reported on his program about Schönbohm's relationship with an association that is controversial because of the connection of some members to Russia. Schönbohm did put up a fight, but he's now president of the Federal Academy for Public Administration and is also responsible for modernizing the training landscape. According to information from government circles, the exact date for Plattner's move to the top of the Bonn authority has not yet been set. Faeser has big plans for the BSI in the coming years. The federal office is to become the central office and provide the federal states with more support in the area of cybersecurity. The Emsland nuclear power plant in Lingen is back on the grid after the fuel elements have been rearranged. Lower Saxony's energy ministry said on Monday that the work was the last revision and the last short shutdown in any German nuclear power plant. The system is now going into stretching operation, which the Bundestag has decided with around 25% less output. At the end of April 15th, the nuclear power plant will finally be taken off the grid. Preparations for the dismantling are already underway. After decades of social disputes, the use of nuclear energy is finally coming to an end, said Lower Saxony's energy minister Christian Mayer. He's from the Greens. He emphasized that from his point of view, it would not have been necessary to continue operations in Emsland, especially since they don't have a power shortage in northern Germany, and the negative scenarios of the federal government stress test have not occurred, as he says. The Lingen site is now to be expanded with RWE into a center for the production of green hydrogen from renewable energies. The federal government is apparently checking whether observation balloons are also flying over Europe. Chinese espionage is taken very seriously there. And in view of the reports of suspected Chinese spy balloons, the federal government has now shown alarm. The federal government takes Chinese espionage and the current reports very seriously and coordinates with its most important partners, said security circles when asked by the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung. It is therefore still being examined whether there have been similar incidents in Germany or anywhere else in Europe. On the basis of the knowledge available so far, assessments for Germany would be premature, they said. According to the report, the Federal Ministry of the Interior, which is responsible for counterintelligence, has taken the lead in the matter. The Ministry of Transport is responsible for civil airspace and the Ministry of Defense for military matters. A US warplane shot down a suspected Chinese spy balloon on Saturday after it entered United States airspace, or almost left it. Beijing protested the downing and said it reserved the right to react as necessary. China had previously said the balloon was for civilian research purposes and happened to fly into US airspace. Colombia, meanwhile, informed about an object with similar properties over their country. Another accident? Because of the difficulties in accommodating refugees, Federal Minister of the Interior Nancy Faeser has announced a top-level meeting in her ministry. She sees that there is still a need for action, and that's why I will now invite everyone involved to another refugee summit at my house, said the politician on Sunday evening on German public television. She would send out the invitations this week, and because I think we have to do everything we can to relieve the local authorities in a joint effort. Here, because not much has happened there. But she didn't give a date for the meeting. The head of the union faction had previously called for a refugee summit between Chancellor Olaf Scholz and the federal states. The parliamentary secretary of the Conservatives in the Bundestag, Thorsten Frey, told the newspaper Tagesspiegel am Sonntag that there had to be talks about limiting asylum migration and finding a solution for distribution, care, and accommodation. We finally have to talk about effective measures to limit asylum migration, he said. And North Rhine-Westphalia's Prime Minister Hendrik Wüst, also from the CDU, like other state and municipal representatives, warned of overload due to the increasing number of refugees. Promised funds from the federal government must finally flow. Further help is also needed. That's what Wüst demanded, according to the newspaper Welt am Sonntag, in a letter to Faeser. He also complained that real estate provided by the federal government for refugee accommodation was often in an unusable condition. In Germany, more people applied for asylum last year than at any time since 2016. According to annual statistics from the Federal Office for Migration and Refugees, almost 218,000 people made such a request for protection in Germany for the first time. That was almost 47% more than in 2021. The approximately 1 million war refugees from Ukraine who were admitted to Germany last year did not have to apply for asylum. They receive immediate temporary protection on the basis of an EU directive. The Greens are calling for the regulation of index rents linked to inflation. Index rents are a problem that we have to tackle, was said by Katharina Dröge, co-chair of the Greens parliamentary group in the Bundestag. She told this to the newspapers of the Funke Media Group. Inflation has risen so much that it will be a shock for many tenants when the increase comes, she said. According to the German Tenants Association, more and more newly concluded leases are linked to inflation. In large metropolises, so-called index rents were agreed for an average of 30% of new contracts last year. That's what the Tenants Association said in mid-January. For Berlin, the Tenants Association assumes that even up to 70% of new leases provide for indexation. Inflation, which is relevant for index rents, reached its highest level since the founding of the Federal Republic last year. Consumer prices rose by 7.9% on average over the year. And 7.9% is not a good thing. But you know that my main channel is on Brexit and the UK. The consumer prices last month rose there on the double than that. More, or it was even more than double. 7.9 compared to 16.7%. And so Brexit does play a role there as well. And a lot of decisions of the British government. But Britain will be in my video tomorrow. So it was a good lead there. And I hope I'll see you there. I'll be back.